Today I'm speaking with Gail and Gregory Haig. They're coming in from iConnectToAll.com, and we're talking all things spiritual. Energy, how we're connected to the universe, how we can tap into that connection, and it's an amazing conversation. I can't wait to share it with you. So enjoy. Make sure to grab the official Not Over, Just Different welcome pack. It's filled with some of the best tools for inspiring your best life, all absolutely free. Just go to notoverjustdifferent.com/welcome gift to download yours now. Hi, I'm Natalie Ledwell and welcome to Not Over, Just Different, a podcast for women of a respectable age facing life's next new chapter. So grab a cup of tea and pour yourself a glass of wine and join me for some deep, real and candid conversations about everything from health, aging gracefully, relationships, and how to make the next 50 years even better than the first. Well, hello everyone and welcome to this week's podcast. This week is going to be a very interesting conversation. I have my good friends with me, Gail and Gregory Haig. How are you guys?
We're doing
wonderful.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie.
Now, whenever we get together, we don't know where the conversation's going to go. But what we do know that it is always going to be a high frequency conversation. Because we seem to be able to find some resonance in the discussions that we have and our understanding of the universe and how energy works. So that's going to be that kind of a conversation today. So what I want to start initially with is with the background of the story of you guys and how you got into like doing this incredible work that you're doing right now. You know, there's a couple of things that we also want to talk about a little bit later in the podcast, especially about the symposium. But let's start with your story.
Well, I'll make mine as brief as I can because then Gregory will probably take more time.
Oh, thank you.
So my background is that of an artist, and I was really very focused on working with light and color and understanding my relationship to the universe, to the cosmology. So it took me more into that spiritual expression, that journey. And I also had a near-death experience when I was about 19 or 20. So I had a different way of looking at my life because of that. And so one of the things that really piqued my interest was the work of Buckminster Fuller. For some reason, I got drawn to his work, and I loved the way he attempted to explain the cosmos, how he saw everything in geometric relationships. And then with my art background, looking at finding all those patterns in nature and everywhere that I could look, it just really took me on a real wonderful way of finding meaning and purpose. So I was doing all this work and then was in my spiritual work, meditating, all kinds of things. I moved to Boulder, Colorado when I was in my mid-30s. And I bumped into my now husband, Gregory, and we realized that we had something very special in common. When I saw him carrying around a box of these different beautiful geometries that had all of these tetrahedrons. And of course, Buckminster Fuller talked a lot about tetrahedrons. So I'm going to let him tell his story now.
The way I started building these forms, it was basically a number of years before, probably about 4 or 5 years before, I was working with a friend. We built a very large pyramid, not so large, but very expensive. It cost us over $50,000 back in the late 70s to build. And we were taking turns sleeping in it, and it set off the Kundalini energy in my body, which is a flow of energy coming up from the earth that really is opening all the chakras so that I could connect up to higher realms. However, it was a very messy process. It was very painful. It was difficult. And in the end, after a couple of years, I started connecting with higher dimensional intelligence and communicating and building forms that I was being instructed to build. And that's what I carried in that little box. And Gail said, "Oh, you must know Buckminster Fuller." And I didn't. I didn't even know the names of the Platonic solids. I didn't know anything other than universe was showing me how things come together, and I was building them because of this experience. And that's what launched our business that same year. Within a matter of months, we realized that we had work to do together and that we were meant to be married, and that would strengthen things. And we've been together for 36 years since.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I love being in the company of the two of you, and I love the conversations that we have. And the love between you really is very palpable, and it's always a pleasure to be around you. Now, what we're talking about in the box is actually based on sacred geometry. Is that right?
Right.
Right. So sacred geometry, to my understanding, is basically the mathematical measurement of everything that exists on the planet.
It's bigger than that.
Wow.
It's well, sacred geometry uses number. It does use measure. It uses time. It uses cycle, rhythm, frequency, all the different elements that we can relate to physically that really describe not just the planet, but the entire universe. So we're talking about a universal principle of understanding that would allow us to go to a civilization millions of light years away, if we can go that far in this universe, and bottom line, communicate with someone else using these principles, using 1 and 2 and 3. And so that's what we're talking about. Aspects of the way everything is created. And like Gail likes to say, when you're in nature, you feel the perfection of what's been created. And you can slip into a space where you feel that resonance. You feel good. You feel connected. You feel grounded and just relaxed. And that's what starts happening when you surround yourself with the way the world and the universe has been created. And when you surround yourself with the frequencies that are coming out of computers and cell phones, and you are in cities with a lot of cement and brick and all these frequencies, and then all the things we eat that are filled with toxins and that we breathe, all of these things disconnect us, make it more difficult for us to be fully human. And as a matter of fact, over 100 years ago, a man by the name of Rudolf Steiner, who did theosophy and Waldorf education, he was talking about in 1917 how difficult it was to be human at that time because of all the electromagnetic frequencies swarming through the atmosphere. And that was only 25 years after Nikola Tesla had lit up the World's Fair in Chicago. And so think of how much has happened in the last 100 years that's affecting our ability to be fully human. And what he means by fully human is what we all, share and love, which is it's more than this 3D reality. It's tapping in to your emotional body, your mental body, your spiritual body, and feeling that connection to everything and being able to think more clearly. And it's very difficult in today's world to experience that level of connection anymore.
Yeah. Well, I know that there's a lot of fear around 5G. There's all the theories about how it was introduced when COVID hit and blah, blah, blah. And, there's a lot of theories being thrown around, let's just say. But Gail, and I know that when I've spoken to you before in the past about this, because I'm like, is this something we should be afraid of? And you're like, no, we just need to, resonate at a higher frequency. So from what you were saying, Greg, it sounds like, yes, there was a lot of those frequencies before, but as humans, we adapted. We were able to overcome that. And now we're in this new era where these other frequencies are coming in. So will we be able to adapt? Will we be able to resonate higher than the frequency of 5G?
We can. Okay. Bottom line, we never did really adapt.
Right.
It's kind of like as Americans get larger, they keep moving up the sizes of small, medium, and large.
Right.
So we're changing normal. We are shifting our view of reality to accommodate our lack of connection and our poor well-being. So, but you're absolutely right. What you shared with Gail about 5G, we're not going to get rid of 5G. And whatever comes after it, it's going to keep coming because that's the nature of where we're going with technology.
Right.
But the point is there a way, I'm talking about these geometries that can resonate with the moon, sun, and stars. How do we get that energy into our environment around us so that 5G doesn't take us off? The fear takes us off. Negative emotions are one of the best ways of disconnecting from source, disconnecting from your power. Every time you go into fear, anger, hate, you disconnect. And so the point is, what can we do through creating resonance to stay connected?
Right.
There's another piece of it too, Natalie, I want to talk about, and that is that we're a lot more powerful than we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
And when we think about what all these things out there are doing to us, instead of what we're capable of, we're not accessing our divine nature. We're not accessing the quality of who we are. And so the work that Greg and I are doing is really so much about helping people live life multidimensionally with all of who they are, trusting themselves, using intuition, using all of the ways that are normal and natural for us to live a full and healthy and joyful life. And then we don't have to be in that little box, that fearful box that says, what can I do to protect myself? Protection is about fear, and connection is about empowerment. It's about alignment. It's about recognition of who we are at that deep essence of our beingness. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what all the work that we do with sacred geometry, with the pendants, with the different forms that we're working with, that all sets people up to be more in that space of alignment, divine alignment. And then from there, they can take off.
Yeah. So, this is a really important question. Do we all have access to that intuition? Some of it is there something that you can teach us, like some kind of a modality or something that teaches us how to connect in with that intuition? And do we all have access to it?
Well, the answer is we all have access to it. Just as we all have these senses, that we have our hearing and our sight and our smell and our taste and our feeling, those are the things that are that we're trained in more, in our traditional training. However, when you go and you look at a little child and they haven't learned all that stuff before, they're incredibly creative beings, and they're just putting together all kinds of amazing and wonderful things. And they're using their intuition. And who knows, they may even be plugging into their past lives and all the different qualities they may be seeing things. It's said that little children can see their angels and see all kinds of things that as we grow up, we stop seeing them. We have, brought in filters that keep us more focused in a smaller world. So yes, intuition is the most natural thing. And, even in places, very traditional places like business leaders will talk about how they use their intuition. Maybe they'll call it their gut instinct, their gut response, whatever. It is intuition. And so what is really in the offing for us now is use those skills, build those skills. They're absolutely wonderful, dependable, your inner voice. And to begin with, one of the most, the easiest ways of beginning that journey to reclaim that part of yourself is love it, accept it,
Right.
appreciate it, and listen.
And see, one of the keys with what we're doing with things like the pendant that we wear and you've experienced, that has about 35 antenna systems internal to it that are sacred geometric measures, designs, patterns that make it easier. It clears the pathway so that someone can more easily connect in with their intuition. Because intuition, I see it as really going through the doorway of the heart, and not to think of the heart as a source, but as a doorway to your higher self. That's where the love comes through from your higher self. That's where you can access information. I mean, that's how we both access information all the time to build and do the things that we do. And we're able to keep that clear field so the information can come in by working with the products that we have. I mean, sometimes early on, I would have beings come and I'd start to ask all kinds of questions, and they'd say, use the stuff you've already made, work with it, work on yourself. Bottom line, if nothing else happens, this is just for you to grow. And after you've grown, after you've started to accept yourself and your love, then maybe you have something to share. But it's like clearing a pathway. And something I was sharing earlier with you before we started was, it's interesting how what we're working with is really of a universal nature. And one of the ways that gets shown to me is through something like what happened with your dog, Bella, who you bought a pendant for Bella, because we make them for animals as well. And it's interesting. I love it because if animals shift their behavior, you're onto something where you're not having to deal with, this is just their mind playing games, or it's the placebo effect. No, what happened, you shared with us, was that Bella stopped barking at your house cleaner, and your house cleaner came up and told you that.
Yeah.
So it was like, whoa, what would make an animal that is used to barking? And I would, project the thought that there was something that was upsetting to Bella about the housekeeper.
Yeah, it was the vacuum. It wasn't the housekeeper.
Yeah.
It was the vacuum that she was upset with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it scared her. It bothered her.
Yeah.
And so she reacted. Well, once she had her pendant, she stopped reacting.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it that she could connect to, that you could connect to, that I could connect to, that we all could connect to, that would alleviate that fear inside of us, that concern? I mean, I've had people tell me they put this on their cat, and now birds start walking around them and the cat just sits there.
Yeah.
because somehow something has been shifted in that being where they feel connection, where they feel unity, and it's grounding the energy in a way where, and that's one of the things I love about putting it on an animal, is that animals take a lot of our stuff. Our dogs, when I started hearing as a kid that dogs, well, that was actually later, that dogs were dying of cancer and all kinds of things, I'm going, wow, they're getting that from human beings because they're taking on our stuff. That's part of their service. Well, this helps move the energy through into the earth and keeps it from sticking. Right. So it's and it does the same thing for us. These big humanoids, we don't have to hang on to the negativity, the fear, the toxicity of this world, and we let it flow through, and that shifts our health and our well-being.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're talking about is this beautiful little pendant, and you don't have video, so you can't see me, but if you've ever seen me in an interview recently, you see that I wear this all the time. And one side is, where I'm feeling my energy's grounded. So when I have a lot of different coaching calls and I'm taking a lot of people's different energies, it kind of helps me stay within my own energy and keep it clean. But today I have it around the other way because I've recorded a webinar and I'm talking with you guys, and then I've got a Facebook Live. And so when I'm teaching, I have the other one where it's projecting my energy out so people can, connect with my energy. But with Bella, I mean, she talks to me. Like she'll come up and go, "Bup, bup," and I'm like, "Oh, are you thirsty?" That's like I know what she's saying and she knows how to communicate to me. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, so go fill her bowl." It's been incredible, the communication that we have together and how much calmer she's been. It's just been unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening to the podcast, you can actually go to iconnecttoall.com/source. So let me just spell that out for you, because it's the letter I, connect, the number 2. So iconnectnumber2all.com/source. Because you've created a special place out there in Colorado where you create these, haven't you, Greg?
Oh, yes, on our land. And we have a number of chambers where once we have the physical components of a pendant, it then goes into a chamber with a couple chambers running where we have a lot of geometry spinning, frequencies going, and it is also on a place on the earth where we can connect in to Mother Gaia. Mm. We can connect into the grid of the planet. This planet is alive and has a system. It has many systems, just like we have a nervous system, a circulatory system. So the earth has systems that we can plug into, and it allows her energy to be part of this. And also it sends it through the entire earth so that everyone is picking up on working with that energy, which is just bringing things back into a recognition of what is whole, what is real, what is it that is really created in this incredible universe. And we can become part of that dance.
Yeah.
We just have it around us, and then we start resonating with that energy, just the way, like I was sharing with you earlier, you do with your mind movies. It's so brilliant. You get people to get the right emotions and get the right mental construct, get the right images, get the things that excite them, the music, and then they start creating the reality that harmonizes, resonates with that.
Right.
So this is just another aspect of finding a way to harmonize, resonate with all of creation.
Yeah.
By working with these sacred principles.
Well, I honestly felt like it was a lifesaver in 2020. There were so many different energies going on, and my connection to the world was through the online world, which got a little crazy there for a while, I have to say. But, being able to wear the pendant, I doubled down on my meditation. So I made sure that I was really, having that connection to all that is, so that I could make sense and be grounded when, all the crazy stuff was coming to the surface. Now, Gail, I know that you have a symposium, the Divine Symposium, coming up very soon, which I'm really grateful and blessed to be a part of. And it's not like a regular summit. Like that was quite an interesting conversation we had on that. And it's like nothing I've ever said live or in a recording before. So tell us what the Divine Symposium is and what was your motivation behind creating it.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. And thank you for playing with us on this. We're in such a special time now. I think many of us who have been doing this work for a while had the feeling that we were on the brink of some major transformation. But of course, we never know what it's going to look like. And, when it happens, it's like, really? Is this the plan? And it was an amazing experience where the whole world went through and is still going through a major shift. And, honestly, I feel like we're not going back, and we can't use those old ways to create the new. We need different tools, different perspectives, different opportunities. And we've learned so much during this time. Each one of us has had our own unique experience. Sometimes it's been crushing for people. Sometimes it's been elevating. It's been, kind of a potpourri of whatever we really needed is what came forth. So as we're, moving along on this, our guidance really put it together and said, put together let's create a real co-creation, a real collaboration where people who we've known and loved for many, many years have substantial and awesome messages for people. But we don't want them to do their regular talk.
Shtick, yeah.
Their regular shtick. We want this all to be new, like really sit with us, like you're sitting in my living room with me and we're going, wow, let down your hair. And what's it been like for you, Natalie? What's been going on? And with that heart connection, and that's the way it's been with each person, a really beautiful, beautiful heart connection, so that each person is willing and able and really gratified to be able to open up and share some of the depths of what they've been experiencing. And the purpose of that is that as we share that, it makes everyone that hears it realize that that's something that they can relate to. And it helps them have the tools and the confidence to move forward in a place of like not knowing, trusting ourselves, trusting each other, being able to move forward. So the Divine Paradigm Symposium is a compilation of 15 interviews with some absolutely exquisite and wonderful people that we love. And the conversations are knocking my socks off. I'm just like, I feel so blessed. And I'm just sitting here going, wow, thank you, universe, for bringing me this. And the gifts that people are sharing are absolutely fabulous. And it's completely guided. And everyone that is part of this is just really feeling like they're seeing something new. They're getting an aha moment in their own conversations. So it's a win for everyone. It's amazing. And it's going to be launching the 20th of September. And Natalie's going to provide a link so that you can sign up for it. It's absolutely free. The whole thing is free, 15 extraordinary conversations. And each person is also giving free gifts and bonuses and all kinds of fabulous stuff. It's exquisite. So come join us.
Well, the link to this will be in the show notes for the podcast. But I encourage you to register for that symposium because, like we said, it's not the usual conversations, and I think for some of us, we really did face a lot of things that came to the surface because our lives got quiet. So they had the opportunity to bubble up. In my case, I had the opportunity to work with a coach every week for a year because I wasn't traveling, I wasn't going anywhere, and I had the time to do it. So I was able to excavate some stuff that I didn't know was there, and maybe if I did, may not have wanted to look at. But because I did, I was able to invite in love. I just celebrated my year's anniversary with my love that I met last year during COVID. So business is going great. Children's program is taking off. Like it's just, and what I share on the interview, which I encourage you to register to listen to that discussion that we had, was just life-changing. Like I don't feel like I'm the same person that was at the beginning of 2020. So, and all of the amazing people that you have in the symposium had very similar experiences, for whatever was the trigger for them, was able to do the work. I remember in the beginning, I was just like, guys, everything I've taught you, this is the reason that I taught it to you. Now is the reason. There's no better time than now to be able to apply all of this, so it was that and then a whole other level above it. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah. And what I love about this is that everyone is being genuinely, authentically, and, also vulnerably themselves.
Yeah.
Which is, it's so beautiful. It's such a gift. Mm. And it makes us all stronger. We have something so much greater to build on now.
Yeah.
The thing that is one of the basic principles of sacred geometry and the universe, it's all based on relationship. It's all based on the way energy moves from one thing to another thing through the harmonizing, through the recognition. And, that's basically what we're all playing with is relationship with our higher selves, relationship with each other, relationship with ourselves. And this has been such a powerful time in really forming that new relationships between us and everything, but especially between us and us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, it's been awesome chatting with you, as it always is. So don't forget, if you'd like to find out some more information about the pendants that we've been talking about, go to iConnectToAll, and the 2 is the number 2, iConnectToAll.com/source. And then you'll also find the link for the Divine Symposium in the show notes for the podcast. And I highly encourage you to register for that because it'll be something like you've never experienced before. So guys, thank you again for joining me. It's always a pleasure chatting with you both.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. We love this time together.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. Now, if you enjoyed this episode and haven't yet subscribed to our podcast, please go ahead and do so on iTunes or Spotify, or go to mindmovies.com/podcast so you don't miss an episode. Now remember, new episodes are released every Monday morning. And this podcast is also brand new, and we'd love to spread the word. So after you've subscribed, be a great girlfriend and pass it on to a friend who will enjoy this too. And don't forget to grab your official Not Over, Just Different welcome pack. It includes some of the best tools for inspiring your best life, all completely free. Head over to notoverjustdifferent.com/welcome gift to grab yours today. Until next time, remember, it's not over, just different.